Hello, everybody. I'm Dee Lisa. I'm the Dream Doula.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Rick Tamlyn here. I am, what am I? I am a guy who's been in the personal and leadership development space for almost 40 years now. So, and I'm probably just to
Here.
kind of give it a link and a connection. I wrote a book called Play Your Bigger Game. It's a Hay House book. So this was one of those moments where you're blessed and lucky and committed and connected, and it got me on the map a bit in the world of personal and leadership development. So I'm that guy. And
What year was that published, Rick?
what a great question. Let's go back and let's look, shall we, together?
Then did you get, was it when Tamlyn-Play was,
2013. It's been a while. It's almost 10
okay.
years old, but it still has legs. I'm still doing workshops
Oh,
with it.
2013 seems like a couple years ago to me.
Yeah, I know, right? I know,
As
right?
time goes.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's beautiful. And Hay House, congratulations. I mean, when
Yeah,
you're
that
a Hay
was a
House author, you are the real deal.
Yeah, well, it was a hoop to jump through, I mean, I actually, I studied with Louise Hay in New York City. I'm a gay man, and Louise, by the way, was instrumental in coming towards the gay community because not
Mm,
many people were. And she was this amazingly loving, as we all know, spiritual person. And she
yeah,
came towards us and asked us to gather, and she wasn't afraid to touch us, right? I mean, so
yeah.
she became a sort of the Mother Teresa of the gay community. So I've always in love with her personally because her commitment to us, um, during a very dark time for folks in my world, as you can imagine. So I don't mean to
Oh,
start out
wow.
in the dark territory, but that's the Louise Hay story. And then I got into her world and I published by her. I'm like, yay. And then I met her on stage. She was like 103. I got to say thank you so much for being with my community, and thank you for publishing my book. It was this sweet
Oh,
moment.
so you got to
I
meet
got
her
to
in
Yeah,
person.
yeah, it was
Oh,
lovely.
and then I haven't met him in person, but Reed, who's kind of
Yeah,
taken over the
yeah,
company, he's doing
he's
so
delightful.
many great things.
Yeah, he's a delightful man. I've met him as well, and yeah, they're on it. I mean, they from a commitment context, they are on it to bring the most interesting wide range of modalities to people. And I love that. They're open at the top. They're not preaching a certain thing. They're,
Yes,
everything it's a very open at the top,
that's
so
an interesting way to put it.
yeah.
That's a beautiful way to put it because there are a lot of, well, there are fewer and fewer publishing houses these days, but
Yeah.
they seem to specify
Yeah.
and just go into this one zone.
Yeah.
And Hay House is in its own zone, but yes, so
Yeah.
many different things that trickle in.
Yeah. I mean, I give him credit too as a business. He's a really smart business guy, and he's really created a beautiful system of you can buy tarot card decks, and you can buy this is kind of a leadership development book, and
Yeah.
this range. And I'm fascinated by the dance of business development, personal development, and spiritual development. And I think they're always all going on at the same time. Putting one's work into the world is a spiritual journey.
Oh, that's beautifully
I
put.
mean, I think about it. We read the stories of the Stephen Jobs, and that you hear and that's a spiritual journey. That is an expression of one's passion and aliveness and commitment. And of course, our culture kind of does business development and how did you make money and what was your strategy, and but
Mhm.
but the personal growth and spiritual growth behind all that. I mean, the great Steve Jobs story, fired by his own company, sitting at home, has a nervous breakdown, basically goes, why am I on the planet? Right? Okay, comes roaring back. We know the rest of the story. But that's an inside job. And business development is an outside expression, but it's mostly an inside job.
I was thinking about the quote today. I don't know where it came from, but you don't get what you want,
Mhm.
you get what you are.
Yeah,
And
it's a
that
great
puts
quote.
what you just said is so perfect
Yeah,
about that. Because
yeah,
even if you're just a numbers nerd and you say, I need to call 3 people a day
yeah,
and have
right.
this, here's my script and
All
yada, yada,
good.
yada. At the end of that journey, you're a different person.
Yeah. Yeah, no matter what the tasks are, there's always a becoming.
Yes.
You can't help it. So I love you and I hang out in worlds that tell you to do more social media and pick up the phone, and we're small business owners, and there's a whole thing to that, and entrepreneurship, oh my God, and
Yeah.
how to get clients and the social media craze. And yet I always remind my clients, and I work with a group of folks in a mastermind, and although I don't love that word anymore, I kind of call it I start to call the group a consciousness collective. It's
I like that better.
I'm
A
giving it a new
consciousness.
spin. This
Collective.
mastermind is getting a little overused. What was I going to say about that?
You work with people.
Yeah, and I was sharing with them that this is a lifestyle. This is not a
Mhm.
business. I work with them for a year, some 2, 3, 4 years. This is a lifestyle. You've decided to be a thought leader, be committed to a message. I mean, D, can I call you, what do I call you? D
Yeah,
or
you call me D or D Lisa.
D
Either
Lisa?
one's good.
Yeah, D
Yeah,
Lisa.
I
Do
made it up.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's so. I was like, D Lisa is it's kind of hip.
Yeah, thank you.
It's very hip. It's a lifestyle, right? And many folks, this is a have to versus a get to. Hopefully, it's a
Mm.
get to do this, not a have to do this. Of course, making a living is a have to, right? And it's an interesting dance between we're in midlife. I don't have to. I get to. Most of the time, I could stop and sell some real estate and never have to work again. And I'm like, why would I do that?
Why
It,
why don't you do that? And would that be boring? I often wonder,
yeah, it would. I think I'd be bored.
I have friends that
Yeah.
don't have to work,
Mm,
but still
I have a
do
lot of them.
things, you
Yeah,
know?
of course.
I saw one last night. He likes to play the drums. He was going off to an open
Yeah.
mic. She, after many years of being told by her husband she
Mm,
didn't have a good voice, um, they now sing in a little group together because
great.
he came back from a workshop. Many,
Yeah.
maybe something
Yeah.
like you would do for someone.
Yeah.
Someone told you couldn't sing when you were a kid or a young
You
woman,
lived it out.
and it crushed you. And he came back from this workshop and he said, "I'm so sorry that I said that to you.
Yeah.
You can sing whenever you want to."
I know.
And now they sing and they travel and they do this and that. But I know other people that
Mm,
they have the same opportunities, but they seem unhappy.
yeah. Well, yeah, let's get philosophical on that one for a second.
Yeah, let's.
Here's my take on the human on this whole game, right? Let's call it a bigger game, call it a
Game
life
of
game.
life.
We're we're here to create,
Yes.
period. Families, babies, companies, bread, dinners, and when we're in a state of creation, we're mostly happier. Because by the way,
Mm,
one of my favoriteest little phrases is you want to handle low-grade anxiety, not debilitating anxiety,
yeah.
but you cannot be in a state of creation and be in a state of low anxiety at the same time. Just think about that. That you're making dinner, you're focused on dinner. Oh, the anxiety is drift. It's like I feel better. So creativity is for me the path to everything.
I love that.
I mean, it's the simplest word. It's like, well, I'm here to create. We procreate. We're here to have families. And then, my sweet dear sister-in-law, it's classic COVID, right? Like by the way, COVID, whoa, shut down, creativity. Whoa, I don't even know where to put my attention. It was a nightmare to the human spirit. Like, what's
Yes,
happening? I could die any minute, all that, right? We all know
yes,
the game.
yes, yes.
We all know the voices. Um, but she jumped on the bandwagon of the sourdough craze. Remember the
Oh, good for
sourdough
her.
craze? Remember the
Sourdough.
sourdough craze? I did
Yes.
a whole training on leadership based on the sourdough craze. Because what that was for social media, right? Helping each other out. How do you do? That was the creative spirit of the human. Somebody somebody said, I need to do something to be creative at home. I guess I'll make sourdough. A very simple moment of I need to create.
Yes.
And I can create bread. And I don't really know how to do it. And then, of course, you add to the mix. I don't really know how to do it. So I'm going to learn because you put learning and creativity together. That's a home run,
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Yes.
you know?
Well, I'm an artist,
Yes, right.
and my sister is an artist. And when we were little kids, well, no, when we were kids,
Mm,
colored with crayons and
Yeah,
whatever. She
yeah,
was
right.
very good. She
Yeah,
started to become an artist when she was younger. She said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a famous artist.
yeah,
I'm like, okay, whatever. So we all knew she loved art.
yeah,
And then when I was in my 30s, I said to her once, you're the artist in the family. I'm the salesperson.
mm, mm,
And she said, no. When we were 8 and 10, we could draw the same.
mm.
And I kept practicing and you quit.
Yeah. Oh,
And
such
so
a
she gave me the
great distinction.
inspiration to
Yeah,
continue to
yeah,
practice
yeah,
and get better.
yeah,
And then fast forward years later, I
yeah,
spent 4 years in an art atelier really learning how to paint. And at one point, she's like, "You're going to be better than me now." I
yeah,
was like, "It's not a competition." But it's
yeah,
so much fun to be creative.
yeah.
And I've taken people into my art studio and just said, "Here, we're going to make something and then we're
Mhm,
going to throw it away." I'm like, "What?
mm,
What?"
yeah.
It's not about the thing you make. It's
No.
getting into that creative zone, just like you
Yeah.
explained with cooking dinner. Although for some people, cooking dinner is anxiety
Yeah, I
producing.
was gonna say, you want to be,
That might be
yeah,
a bad
yeah,
analogy.
yeah, an analogy doesn't work perfect in every situation because like, oh
Same.
my,
I mean, it depends on the person. Some people love
yes,
to knit.
yeah,
Personally, knitting makes me nervous because I want to finish the project the first time I cast on.
yeah,
My
yeah,
sister loves to garden and
yeah,
weeding in particular makes her really happy and calm. I'm like,
yes,
weeding, no, I want to
no,
see
right,
flowers.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so if you're listening, dear listener, find your sweet spot and
yeah,
there's something you can do creatively that will
yeah,
make you feel soothed and calm.
yeah. It's. I think it brings us back to a home state of wholeness
Yeah.
when we're sort of in that state of creativity. And just to do a shout out, I've been giving this to my clients. I don't know if you know this book, but it's called The Creative Act: A Way of Being.
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin. Do you know this book? Yeah.
You know what? I asked my friend that I saw last night, whose husband was going to the open mic. I said, "Have you read that book yet?" Because I was
Yeah.
reading again the Artist's Way book.
Yes.
And I was like,
Yes.
I don't want two people telling me how to be creative. So I
Yeah.
haven't read it yet, but every single person I know who's read
Yep.
this book
Yep.
raves about it, loves it.
Yep.
And I guess he also does in his own voice the audio version.
Yeah. And it's journal entries. So I'm a fan these days of the book that you open it up. It's not a
Anyway,
linear book. It's not a
oh,
don't
good.
it's like,
Okay,
so it's, the abundant mindset and it's 3 pages. The experimenter and the finisher, 2 pages. So you're just, so
nice.
I speak at spiritual communities. I speak a lot, and sometimes I'll bring this book and I go, okay, guys, give me a page number, and we just throw a page number, like they
I
say a
love
page,
it.
and then I open it and I read it and go, turn to your neighbor, discuss, and then I create a talk right out of it in the moment,
That's beautiful.
which is a whole other level of like trusting, sort of,
I
versus
once
the,
told I once told someone who was my coach at the time that I was like, I'm getting ready for this class, but I don't feel like I'm prepared. I just like pulled
yeah,
these books off the shelf and opened a random page, and that's what
yep,
I'm going to talk about.
yep,
And she said, "Oh, honey, that's good. You're channeling."
yeah, yeah, that's exactly what that is. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, we have
yeah.
it.
So trusting the universe that the
Yep.
perfect page for that group or that person is going to be open up for you.
Isn't that a much better way to live than trying
So
to
much
manage it all
less
and get it
stress.
right and all that stuff that we try to be? This word perfect, like I don't even know what it means anymore. People are like, I want to be perfect. I'm like, what are you talking about? But
There should be a thing called imperfect is perfect or something
well,
like that.
Brene Brown, she really
Oh, she kind of
she
embraced
kind of
that.
coined that. I mean, if there's anybody who coins phrases and makes millions of dollars off of coined phrases,
Brene
that woman's
Brown.
got it down. Like I'm always jealous of, like, when she came up with vulnerability hangover, I was like, oh, why didn't I think of that? I get very, I share with my people. I think I've said this into rooms too. I get so jealous of her because I'm so inspired by her. Like, I hate you so much. Why didn't I think of that thing that you thought of? You did it
Brene
first.
Brown.
She's something.
She is something. Oh my
Yeah. Yeah.
goodness.
She just goes first with it. She decides to be public with it and she decides to have it matter and she gives it life and she breathes life into it. And I think
Mhm.
as coaches and trainers and speakers, this is what we do. We breathe life into concepts that are sitting there that already exist. And our job is to breathe life into them because they
Ooh,
already all exist.
yes.
In the quantum, my doctorate, by the way, in advanced consciousness, which was basically the study of a quantum field and all that quantum physics stuff.
Yeah.
It already all exists. It's already all exists. There's no time or space. It already all exists. It's done. It's a done deal. We come along in this particle format and sort of reveal what's been in this space forever, but forever doesn't cut it because there's no such thing as forever. It just is. And it's right. I mean, we're into a whole like, what?
Mic drop.
Yeah.
The idea I believed before I even thought about the quantum field,
Mm.
although I loved math and science as a kid.
Yeah, me
I was a
too.
geeky kid in high school. All my friends were like, ooh,
Yeah.
let's do this. We had trigonometry, we had
Mhm.
calculus in high school for the first year. It was like a
Yeah.
tiny little class. Our teacher would fall asleep while we did our homework. He goes, do the homework for tomorrow right now. And then he'd like sit back and take a nap.
Oh my God.
It
What a
was
great
great.
way to teach.
We're like, what you do?
So you're helping each other
Uh,
solve it. Yeah.
but yeah, the quantum field, the
Mm.
fact that everything's happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality that, and what is it? Deepak Chopra
Yeah.
said, we live in a uh, vivid oh man, I'll remember that quote in a minute, but
Yeah.
we're having a lucid dream and a vivid reality.
Yes. Yes.
And so this life
Yeah.
is something we can work with and create. And that's pretty much what you teach people, right? You
Well,
can, it's a malleable thing. It
it's
is what you
malleable,
make it.
correct. And we are
Yeah.
yes, we can mold it, we can shape it, we can turn it into products, right?
Yes.
There's a phone, right? We just turn this stuff into
Yes.
stuff. And some people believe that we can do that better than others. Some people go for it with that better than others. Um, I think there's, you know, I would make up you a line with this. I tend to attract my clients are, I'm going to use the language, they're creators, they're not consumers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the world, most of the world, right or wrong or bad or wrong, is this is what exists. I'm a consumer of stuff. I watch TV and I consume, and then I go online and I consume, and then I get social media done to me and I consume, and then I go shop and I consume. It's not a bad way to live. But then people come along and say, wait a minute, I want to be one of the creators that other people consume.
Yes. Yes.
Right? That's the artist's model, right? I am here to create something.
Yes.
God willing, somebody buys it and you make a living out of it, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of sidebar, but one of my other favorite people in this conversation who I've worked with as well is Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh yeah, she's a beautiful human.
The big magic concept,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's floating around out there and it comes to me, and if I don't act on it, somebody else will. Like it finds another home. How
I'm
many
really
books?
glad you brought that up.
Isn't
I'm
that a
so
great
glad you
concept?
brought that up, Dr. Rick. Should I call you Dr. Rick?
You can call me, just call me. Just call me maybe.
Just call me. I remember having someone tell me when I was very young, so many, 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 many years ago,
Yeah.
a good idea knows no owner.
Yes.
And I thought, yeah, I
Yeah.
worked on boats in the 70s. And I
Yeah.
thought, wouldn't it be cool if you fell overboard and your rain gear floated you? And then the next year there was like a floating reindeer.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
I
yeah.
thought, wait, I thought that up.
Yeah.
And multiple times over my
Yep.
life, I've thought
Yep.
about these brilliant things that should be. And of course, those ideas are not just popping into my head, they're in
No.
collective consciousness for anyone
Correct.
to take. And so
Correct.
if you get an idea, human, go do something.
Go do it with, yeah, do with it what I will, or act on it or not. And I think the most successful people act the fastest on the creative urges. They're not the smartest. They just
Sure.
act the fastest on the creative urges.
Oh, that's beautifully put.
And I mean, I hire help. I have a business coach. I have people who come in and help me with my business. Okay, that I'm not the smartest. They are in that domain of their
Right.
talent. You go to the talent model, like they're talented there. I'm not. Help. Go buy
Yes.
it, right? But I'm going to act on the creative urge. So, Elizabeth Gilbert, maybe a little celebrity moment. I do a conference every year, an event, used to be called a conference, live. We'd have a couple hundred people in a room. And I really, maybe some of you will get this concept. I really wanted to put myself into a league of, let's call it, people who are more popular than me in the space. So it's and the metaphor, I learned that from tennis. You want to become a better tennis player, play with a better tennis player.
Yeah, that's true in any
In
industry.
any
You want to
industry,
be a better salesperson?
just go
Look at the
hang out.
top salesperson in your
Exactly.
industry. Go take them out to lunch. Ask them how they do it.
How do
They'll
you do
tell
it? Hang
you.
out in it. Right, exactly. So I
Yeah.
did this, I did an event one time and it was good. I lost a bunch of money on it. And then I said to my husband, okay, I love this book, Big Magic, or it hadn't come out yet, but I
Yeah.
love her. She did a talk. She did one of her, she's like the most, what her TED talk, I think, is the third most popular in the world.
Oh,
And I said to
great.
my husband, we're going to hire her. Right. So I pick up the phone and I call her agent, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, fast forward, she's $25,000. Right. I don't have $25,000 sitting around. But I turn to him and I say, we have to do this. This is going to be a game changer for me consciously, for my
Mhm.
community, for
Mhm.
my publicity. Like, we're going to work this, you know,
This is gonna work. Let's book her. We'll
let's
get the
book
money
her. We
later.
pulled out the credit card, got some miles. I mean, sure enough, she flies into upstate New York where we did this event. She was lovely. The people loved her. She flew out, by the way. She had to get to another gig. She flies out on a seaplane. This is on a lake. So she had this private seaplane fly her out. I turned to my husband as we're waving, and I go, I want her life. It was this moment. But my point of this is it was there's a lot to unpack in there, but risk, willingness, debt. There's smart, by the way, business moment, smart business debt versus stupid business debt.
Yes.
100-inch TV screen, stupid debt. Elizabeth Gilbert, smart debt,
Yes.
right? Like so people people are like, I don't want to get into debt for business. I'm like, well, you're in debt probably for 16 other things that you shouldn't be in debt for, like a television screen, or, I get very pragmatic with people. It's like, well, you're debting over here, so I help people with their work in the world. But anyway, that model of, like, to your point, you want to be more successful, go hang out in the higher level of the successful consciousness.
Yes.
And I mean, my other favorite emotion to experience, this is going to sound weird to everybody, jealousy pulls me into I want to learn from them. I get incredibly jealous when I see a new Brene Brown book go to #1. I'm like, really? But
Again,
then I
really,
again,
again.
and I go, of course, again, is she good publicity, she's on Good Morning America, it's all handled. And then I go, well, wait a minute, if her, why not me? So I got another book coming, and so it's the desire that I want to have dramatic impact with my life when I'm here is the calling, period.
I was just thinking about that the other day,
Yeah.
so I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that up. But if you envy or if you're jealous
Mhm.
of someone else,
Yeah.
that means that you want
It's
that
it,
too.
it lives in you, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're like, I used to think, oh, don't be jealous. Don't,
Oh,
and I
it's
mean,
my favorite
envy, one
emotion.
of the seven
Yeah. Yeah.
sins, right? But just being in that feeling
Yeah.
isn't helpful.
No,
And it
exactly.
could really be like a poisonous reality if you're
Yeah.
just sitting around being jealous and envy of other people. But if you realize that you have that,
Yeah.
the awareness is that, I want
Yep.
some of that.
Yeah. I want some
I
of that.
want what you do.
Yeah.
I want the float plane,
Yeah.
or I want
Right.
the whatever car, or I want that.
Right.
I went to an event the other day, and these two young people were up on the stage and
Yeah.
doing some like coaching, blah, blah, blah talk.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking,
Mm.
I could do that.
Yes.
I
Of
could do
course.
that better than they're doing it.
I mean,
And I was like, how was the event? I was like, I just kept thinking I could do what they're doing.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on some level, isn't that the greatest compliment to yourself? Like, well, to your point, if I see it, I want to be it. So there's
Yeah.
that simple bumper sticker
Yeah.
phrase. If I see it, I want to be it. You know.
And conversely,
Yeah.
we can see what we don't want to be
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the world. We're like, ooh, ouch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Really, don't do that.
Yeah.
Although I think that's where most people live,
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
don't want that
But
reality.
yeah, and I don't know if I can get that, so I won't want that.
I don't, oh, right. I don't want to disappoint
Yeah.
myself.
That's my other favoriteest emotion, not to sort of to name. This is my one of my mentors sort of trained this in me years ago. The disappointment is one of the most challenging emotions to sit with and be with, because it's mostly in me. I can't blame or shame it.
Mhm.
I just have to sit with, I went for it. I wanted it to be a #1 book. I wanted it and it didn't, or whatever it is. I mean,
Right.
I work with clients and help them get Zoom calls, and well, I wanted 20 people and only 2 people showed. And of course you have to train them. Those are your 2 people. That's your workshop. You're doing a workshop for 2 people, right?
Yeah.
But that disappointment is a constant. So therefore we want to avoid that. It's one of the most avoidable. I do not want to be disappointed, so I won't.
I won't even try.
I won't even try, because then I don't have to feel that, right?
Yeah. I
Right.
think it's very prevalent for women in
Yeah,
particular. We
probably.
kind of in our society, we've been trained to not want too much
Yeah. Yeah.
and to be okay with not getting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So disappointment is kind of like just a normal emotion.
Yeah.
And especially
Yeah.
in business, if you try and try and try, I'm like, ooh. And
Yeah.
I love and we both know Mary Morrissey through the world
Yes.
of everything, but I love
I love
the
it.
thing
Yeah.
that she says, and most people in Centers for Spiritual Living say this
Mhm.
too, this or something
Or
even
something.
bigger
Yeah.
still.
Yes.
So if it's 2 people, cool, show
Yes.
up all the way for those 2 people, and they'll probably be clients.
And you never know who they know.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mary
that's so
Morrissey, can we
cool.
just have a moment? I just shared her with my clients last week in a 3-hour class around her money consciousness stuff.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh, did you show her a little thing where she holds money and she talks
yeah, I've showed
things
that
about?
one. This was a different one, but I love that one where she tells the speech where she goes to hear the spiritual guy, and
Yeah.
it's such a great concept. It's like, if you don't have a healthy relationship with this thing, how could it have a healthy relationship with you? Meaning
Yes.
money, right? Like,
Yes. That I've also heard it said, and you said relationship with money, but if your relationship with money was a relationship with a beloved, how would
mm,
you be doing?
yes, yes, such a great
Um,
contrast. Like,
how
what?
would you be doing? And
Yeah,
how careful are you? And how do you love it? Or do
give it
you dread
attention,
it?
right?
Yeah.
Take care
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money. That's another thing we just made up.
Oh my gosh, it's just a thing, right? And
It's
right.
just made up, and we all
Yes.
just think it's so important. And yeah, we have to pay our bills with it, but still,
No, I know.
it's another thing that's malleable and you can
Yeah.
leave it into existence, right?
And there's
So what
something
year?
about,
Oh, go
so
ahead.
I was just going to say about sort of business wise and life coaches and people who are in this territory that we're in. There's this desire to, like, what should I charge? There's like
Yeah.
there's this sort of a little bit like this, there's this magical number. And then as their mentor and trainer and teacher and coach inside this group, that I've even said to them, I go, do you guys get it? I give you a number, but I've made it up. I mean, right? I mean, the industry says this. Go look at the International Coach Federation data if you want to see the data. But Tony Robbins is doing $1 million a year, and you're $1. So it's made up. And of course, the other thing I said to them the other day really triggered. I think triggered is a strong word. It activated. I play with activated versus triggered. Triggered
I
feels
like
like a
that.
shutdown. Activated feels like a wake up.
Yeah.
Um, I said, the only difference between you and Tony Robbins is experience and fame. That's it, right? You're just as committed to the human spirit like he is. He happens to love big events. He can jump on I mean, you can go to the talent thing, but he's been doing it longer, and he also got himself more famous. And how did he get him more famous? He bought television ads in the 70s, in the 80s, in the middle of the night. One of the most brilliant business decisions ever. To,
That's so cool. I saw really,
yeah,
you're going to have to find this for your group, for
yeah,
your consciousness collective.
yeah,
The I saw a really, really old clip of him looking like kind of like a baby because
yeah,
he's like so much
Yeah.
older. He was like a skinny, runchy
Yeah.
guy. And
Right.
it was a bad video. And he was drawing the stick figure on like a piece of paper, the Bob Proctor
Yeah.
ideas come here and then
Yeah.
you're living. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. That's what I mean. He started with what everybody has. And yeah, he's just and everybody
Yeah.
knows who he is because he's
Yeah. And, for those that
yeah.
are listening, you might think he's a nutcase. You might think it's, I'm always inviting people to, if you're really activated by somebody, take a look, just to go inside and go, okay, what's upsetting about that? Do you think he's horrible? Is he ruining the planet? Is he like, really uncover, our reaction to people is always an interesting place to understand what matters to us. It's obvious, right? And we have a world right now that's so, right, it's so volatile with voting about people right now. We're just voting at people,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Just so, which is part of the deal on, you and I do it. We're on social media. Like, what do we say? Because we could be canceled, we could be shut. Like, it's such a volatile topic,
Oh, plus,
right?
you and I both have people telling us how
Yeah.
we should do our social media.
Yeah.
And part of what I've been told is I should be controversial. And that
Yeah.
will get more followers. I should
Yeah.
say something that people are going to be upset about, and then
Yeah.
they'll argue about it online. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
interesting. I can be, I want to be profound. I don't know if I just want to make up something that's controversial that doesn't actually come from me. That's
No.
integrity, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll say something that's controversial to someone, but are they
Yeah.
my people? Are they my people? Are they the ones that want
Right.
to
Right.
know how to be more authentic and find
Yeah.
what they love in life and go there? Maybe not.
Yeah. The most controversial thing that I would want to say right now, and I'm scared to even say it. I noticed it in myself, so I'll start with me.
Okay.
Um, I'm sometimes business lazy. I'm just lazy. I don't want to say I'm a lazy human in general, but I'm business lazy. I get lackadaisical, I drift. I'll go have a cup of coffee that's 4 hours instead of like I have a business to run. I am right. So lazy is my word that I would offer. Like we get lazy. We get lazy. And or maybe it's lackadaisical because lazy feels like it's so personal. I can't even feel it. Like I don't want to say that to anybody, but I've been accused of it. Like Rick, you're business lazy, and I went, they're right. They're right.
Oh, interesting. But
Yeah,
I would invite you to consider whether
yeah,
that
yeah. I knew you'd have a new whisper.
whether what you're telling yourself, your business lazy,
Yeah,
is attributed to the American dream.
yeah. I know.
Work, work, work,
Yeah,
never take vacations, work
yeah,
overtime,
no,
work on weekends, look at your email all the time.
yeah, no, no.
Perhaps it's better to have business boundaries, which include 4-hour coffees sometimes.
I completely.
And if you get all your tasks done
Yeah.
and also have a life,
Mm.
I envy the people that live in Europe that take 6 to 8 weeks
I
vacation every
I
year.
I know I am with you. Like, and or Fridays off. Can we just do the Fridays off thing finally in America? Can we just do it? We
Yeah,
almost
some
we almost
companies are doing it. I had a friend who ran her own business, and at one point she bought a beach cabin that was a couple-hour drive away, and she
yeah,
said, I don't work on Friday afternoons or Monday mornings anymore,"
yeah,
and no one noticed.
yeah.
No
Just
one
no one
noticed.
noticed. Yeah.
And so she basically took a whole day, a 3-day weekend
That's so great.
with half days on either end, and everything ran perfectly. And I would invite people to wonder if maybe you could take Fridays and Mondays all the way off.
Oh, I do love
Or
that.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, find me then. Or
Yeah.
some,
Yeah,
some,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. To your point, you know, this, right? More is better, more is better, more is better is a whole
yeah,
thing.
is it?
Yeah, no, I know, right?
Is it? So tell me more about your programs. I see you do workshops and you have a
Yeah,
consciousness collective.
I know.
And the way I met you was
Yeah.
through our beloved friend, Reverend Nancy Berggren.
No,
She's
right?
91 years. I
I
tell everybody about her. My
I
friend is 91 and she just wrote her second book.
I
So I'm
know.
assuming that you're the guy that helped her do the book.
Well, the book was well on its way when she joined our
Okay.
collective consciousness thing. But she came to my event and she goes, "Ah, I need to be around this. I need to be around a person like you. I need to be around stimulating energy. I need some creativity. I need some strategy. I need some." And then we chatted and she said, "I want to do workshops with this book." I said, "Oh yeah, no, we'll help with all of that." So it gets very
Yes,
tactical, right?
yes,
But boy, talk about um finding it. It's easy to do this, and she's going to be one of these. I read a book the other day called, it's about longevity.
yeah,
The goal, the most of the American system kind of does this. We sort of, I'll start over here, like we kind of, and then we sort of decay, and then we sit in a nursing home and like, right?
yeah,
And
and
this guy's
slowly
on a
fade away.
message to do this. You kind of do this, done. Just
Yeah.
drop dead. Just drop dead. Like hearted, like boom, you're out. My mom and dad both did that, by the way, in seconds. Like here 1 minute, gone the next. So I love that model.
When you're done, you're done.
You're done, you're done, versus this sort of drag it out. And so my point best about Nancy, Reverend Nancy, is she's gonna be that. Like she'll be standing on a stage doing a workshop, like
Yeah, and they'll be like,
we'll
oh,
celebrate like
what was she,
mad.
wait, ambulance, please. What was she
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say
yeah. Like,
next?
oh my, she'll be 97 or 9 or 102 or, who
They could
knows,
totally see
right?
that.
So,
She's lovely. She's a
yeah,
lovely human. She
yeah.
reminds me a little bit, although she's like 10 times more energy than my Auntie Karen, who I aspire to be like. She lived very well and healthily
Yeah,
until 96,
right.
and then she passed at 97.
I'm only looking up here because I'm trying to find her book because I have it.
Yes, her book is called To Hell with
Yeah.
Old
Oh, no, wait
Age.
a minute. I know where it is. Hang on, everybody. We'll do a little commercial for Reverend Nancy.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. She's worth it. So here it is, To Hell with Aging. I have it right here. To Hell with Aging, right?
Okay, To Hell with Aging. Oh, I remember the book wrong. To
Both
Hell
of
with
us.
Old Age, I called it, but To Hell
Yeah,
with
right.
Aging.
And we love the cover, right? I mean, she's an actress, so she's really funny and playful and kind of
She's
make,
funny, and she has her own TikTok, by the
yeah,
way. If you want to follow her on
yeah,
TikTok, do it. Holy cow, she's hilarious.
yeah. So,
She's hilarious. I've had her
so
over. I've met her in person
yeah.
several times. I've had her over to my house for
Mm,
lunch a couple of times with my other
mm.
old lady friends. They're not old. Uh,
No,
I,
no.
I have a new reality on what old is when one of my friends is 91.
Yeah, I know. And still like vibrant as heck, right? So,
So vibrant. I
yeah,
mean, so energetic, so beautiful, such a lovely soul.
yeah.
So you help people do things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Book
So
in
I would
me, or I
say
have a
my
TED Talk in me, or I have a uh,
yes, yes. You're I mean, I attract a lot of life coaches. I came out of the life coaching industry. I was an early adopter with the Coaches Training Institute, probably the
okay.
largest coach training school in the world. Blessed, very quickly, blessed to have been a part of that system for 30 years, traveled 2.7 million miles for them, corporate, over 2,000 workshops, right? So been around the block on the personal development thing. And then we got into corporate with coaching skills for leaders. It became a gigantic thing, right? And now I've done sort of the meta view now. I've stepped up, meta is like now I help people who are in that space, practitioners, soul-based entrepreneurs. We've heard these terms, how to do this better, how to be seen by more people. But what I'm really mostly helping people with is how are they while they're doing it? So there's the marketing aspect, but I'm also upping the game on their energy, aliveness, training, teaching, because people buy the person. They don't, the doorway to the person is the message, but ultimately the message is to the person. And then I want to keep hiring the person, or I want to be around that person.
That's so beautifully put.
Right.
Because five different people could offer exactly the same thing,
Exactly.
but you would hire the one that you resonate with.
Exactly. And so so we got to resonate and we got to animate and we got to, breathe life into concepts, whether it takes a book form. I mean, and my four pillars of a transformational work or business are, speaking, teaching, workshops, no, sorry, speaking, teaching, writing, and coaching. That's how you
Okay.
make a living, a really good living as a transformational person. And these
Those
four,
again, please.
yes,
Speaking,
speaking, right? So here's an opportunity. You've given me an opportunity for us to speak together.
That's
Podcasts
awesome.
are places to speak, right? I'm on a
Yeah.
podcast run this month. I'm trying to be on as many podcasts in the next 3 months that I've ever been on in history because there's so many. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's
So,
millions.
right, there's millions, right? So speaking, and there's a whole training into that. Speak for free, speak for a fee, speak, sell from the stage. There's all kinds of elements to that.
Mhm.
So there's speaking, teaching workshops. I do a workshop every 2 weeks to my email list for free every 2 weeks, consistent, right? It's a personal development workshop. It's a money workshop. It doesn't matter. I've just picked something that's up. Here's how I usually pick. I pick something that's I'm up against myself, and then I go do some research about it, and then I share my wisdom, and then have them share their wisdom about it.
Oh, that's beautiful. So every 2 weeks, different concept.
Different concept, different thing. I'll borrow a quote from a book. It's like sort of being a minister. You know how a minister has a new talk every Sunday.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
gotta have some. And so I do that every 2 weeks.
yeah.
Writing. I have a book. Another book's coming. But here's the other thing that transformed my business is my weekly blog post, my weekly newsletter. Right. So 5,000 people get something from me every Sunday for the last 7 years of my business life. Without
Mm,
fail, it's a non-negotiable. So on Wednesday, Thursday, my husband and I talk. What am I talking about? What do this yesterday was about Father's Day. I did a thing on Father's Day because you must talk to your people. If you want to be seen and known, you got to talk to your people.
right.
Then you become a trusted soul over time.
Yes.
People will buy a trusted soul. And how do you become a trusted soul? Impact over time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the speaker part. And then the coaching part. Some people decide to work with people one-on-one as a practitioner or life coach, whatever the context is. As we know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now. I just got off the phone this morning with a corporate coach. She charges $50,000 a year to work with C-suite guys, mostly guys, because they're up to here and they're freaking out and they're worried about that and their wives and their kids. And so she's like, okay, Houston, we got you. You know,
50,000.
yeah, no, it's like a no-brainer because it's a spec in the level she plays at. So she's able to get into these rooms and then now they're all telling each other.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
So
beautiful.
it's not about the money necessarily, but at that point they have the money. There's like, again, this is a write-off for them. They need it,
Yes.
and they need to talk to somebody and they don't want to talk to a therapist, as we all know. I don't need a therapist. I just need to talk me through what's going on in my business. And we just had a bad press moment and talk what she helps people, by the way, in the media a lot. Like they're
Okay.
going to be interviewed on television and she's like the media coach.
Oh, I love it. I
You know,
love it.
this is the take you have to come at it. So she's really good with words.
Mm.
Anyway, that's the 4 pillars. So that's
Okay.
that's what my event is about. So I do a yearly virtual event now. It used to be live, and I rename them every year. But this one is called Produce You.
And it's
Produce
in October.
in October 10 and 11. Produceyouevent.com is the link. And there's an early bird pricing. It's 2 days. And we'll unpack, first of all, why are you here? What do you want? And we're going to play with something called the Empower model. And M is the letter I use, M power, right? The word power. So your message, how to get that through the media, how to monetize that, how to be the voice of this matters in the world. So I have like 7 words that guide this 2-day experience using the letter M.
I
So I
love
walk people through the model, and it's a bit of it's an infinity loop
that. Hmm.
because really our work in the world is an infinity loop, right?
Oh, I love that concept. So, oh, by the way, I signed up, so I can't wait to
Oh,
see it.
thanks. Yeah, right. Yeah, we do it from our house now. I used to go to a studio. We bought the equipment. I bought cameras and
Nice.
brought people into the
I
house.
love the post-COVID world that I
Yeah,
can have conversation with you right now. I'm in Seattle, you're in Palm Springs.
right?
People can be anywhere in the world and watch this conversation later,
Game
and
changing.
we can inspire people virtually.
Yeah,
Let me ask you one question, and then I think we can wrap up.
yeah.
7 years ago, when you started your newsletter, you have 5,000 people on the list now. How many did you start with? Do you
You know, I
remember?
wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell I was this brilliant number guy and was actually tracking all that. I
Like,
wasn't.
what do you think?
Yeah,
Like
I make up in the
200?
no, not even. It was, well, first of all, I had to be a responsible purveyor of training, coaching skills. We were not allowed to grab people's emails lists from
Yes, yes,
workshop.
yes, that's
That's an
true.
integrity moment. All of a sudden, it's like, here's my, people were like, no, I don't want to be on your email list. You're my trainer. Right? So we weren't allowed to do that. Afterwards, people would reach out, find me through social media, right? But I think I mean, first of all, let's be really real. When I started this industry, email didn't exist. So,
I remember the
like,
beginning of
right,
email.
like it
Yeah,
was sending things in the mail. I
right.
did a workshop for my neighborhood. The very first workshop I did was in my neighborhood in West Hollywood, California, and I invited 20 friends. And I basically like did a little get your life together workshop, and 20 people showed up for $20. And then 6 of them said, I want to be your life coach. Can I work with you? I love this conversation. And I was like, sure. That's how I got my first 5 clients.
I love that.
And I
Okay,
just picked
so
up the
anyone
phone. I
who's
left.
listening, who's wondering, like, how can I get started? I don't have 1,000 followers. I don't have 100,000 followers on TikTok or whatever.
No.
You
I
have friends and you have neighbors.
I picked up the phone and left voicemails on voice recorders.
Yeah,
Hi, this is your friend Rick. I know I know you know me as an actor, but I'm taking this life coaching class, and I think it would really help you be more fulfilled, because when you're more fulfilled, you won't be so desperate when you go for an audition. Call me back if you want to come. Bye. It's literally what I said. And I just made
nice.
50 of those phone calls.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's the work part of the business development side.
Yeah. I
You
mean, we
know,
obviously, if we're going to help people, we have to talk to people, or people have to just find us randomly. That's fun
yeah,
too. Uh,
yeah. But the
but most of
difference, I
it.
want to offer everybody this distinction. I
Okay.
was so excited about the training that I could
Mm.
not wait to call them. Like my own
Oh,
training. I was so
yes.
excited about the concepts. It was like, imagine you all have something you love at Trader Joe's and you can't wait to tell somebody. It's like that. I couldn't wait to pick up the phone. Most people are like, pick up the phone. That's a sales call. I hate sales.
Mm. Yes.
So you have to shift it to like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I have to share this stuff with you. This has been game changing for me. You have to call me back because you have to come to this thing, because this is going to be a game changer for you being
Yes, yes, I want to go. I want to go right now.
you
Halfway
see
through your
that,
sentence.
right? See that. So that's
Mm.
not selling anything. That's activating hunger that's sitting there dormant.
Ooh, that is a beautiful phrase. Yeah.
Because
So what
it's,
I'm passionate about is dreaming. I can
yeah,
talk to people about their dreams
right?
at night all day long, and then people
Right?
go, "What? I don't have dreams." Then
Yeah.
the next time I see them, they're like, "Dee,
Yeah.
I got to tell you about this dream."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like I turn on a switch inside their
Yes.
mind that they can remember their dreams,
Yeah.
and through my excitement of talking about dreams.
Yes, exactly. Here's my favorite word. You're frothing about how much you're in love with dreams pulls us into, I think I should be in love with dreams like she does.
Yeah.
You fall
Oh,
in love with people who are in love.
yes.
So when you're in love with your work, people are drawn to it or not. The people go, you're crazy. Okay, fine. But more people are like, "Oh, she's got this dream thing going on. I have to go to the dream workshop. When's the next one?" Right? Because of your love of it is so infectious.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Well, Rick, it's been so inspiring to talk to you. Thank you so much for saying
thank
yes
you.
to be here with me. And
Welcome.
I can't wait to see you at your next workshop and read your next book.
Yeah, it's
And
probably at least a year away, so don't hold
okay,
your
well,
breath.
we'll
But
be thinking about it for a year
yeah,
then.
but we'll see you in
And
October.
I'll
Yeah,
put how to find him in the show notes for everybody, and you can like click on all those links.
produce you, everybody. There's stuff in you that wants to be seen in the world. Don't wait. Go share it.
Don't wait.
Mm.
Bye for
Thanks,
now.
Dee.